Hello, Lavi.
Hey,
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
all right. How you doing?
Pretty good, Lavi. And you have a hand that I thought was very, very interesting. Was it played in a private game?
Yeah, it was in LA home game.
By the way, do you mind? You and I were talking on the side, and I was just kind of peppering you because I was never before we get into the hand. I know you told me that you had sort of frequented. We have some of the same friends, the LA sort of home game scene for quite a while, but then you're out of it, right?
Yeah,
So what? How do I put this? Like, was it like as much as of a charade of like markers and degenerates and scumbags and sort of cheating and not getting paid as much as I thought that it was, which is why I stayed away from it.
not quite as much. No, I actually found that the games were a lot better. I mean, there were games like that out there,
Uh-huh.
but you kind of learn which games are which and which to go to and which to stay away from.
So why did you play in private games in an area where there were so many, like say, public casino games, just because they were better?
Infinitely better games. Yeah, absolutely.
And we played in a game together too. I remember, right? One of the few private games that
Yeah,
I played.
yeah. That's where we had originally met.
Okay, so give us a setup here. And the other kind of cool thing about private games, because I think I remember this as shorthanded, is like when it gets late at night, you get to play shorthanded, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I've played quite a bit of shorthanded in these games.
So is this three or four handed or what?
No, it was a full ring game. Might have been eight. It might have been eight handed at the
Oh, my
time.
bad. I don't know why I thought it was shorthanded. Okay, eight handed. What's the size of the game?
5-10, no limit.
5'10". Okay. And how deep were you?
The other two guys had right around 2,500.
Okay, so 2,500 effective.
Yeah,
All right, so 2,500 effective, 5'10". Okay.
yeah. So it limps under the gun, limps in middle position. I'm in the small blind with eight deuce of diamonds.
Okay, yeah. Eight deuce of diamonds. Okay. And you decide to complete?
I complete.
And I will say that I am have been guilty of. You said that there were two limps. I have been guilty of completing in the small blind, kind of wide with two suited cards. I mean, there is probably some threshold here. I mean, you're obviously going to be in the worst position. Usually, it's when it's like limp, 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 and I've got like 8-4 suited. I'm like, I'm going to throw in, the five. So you decide to complete with the eight deuce of diamonds in the small blind.
Right. Yeah. And the big blind checks,
Okay.
and the flop comes 5, 6, 7, two diamonds.
So 7, 6, 5, diamond, diamond, and you have eight deuce of diamonds.
Right.
So you've got open ended and a flush draw. Okay.
I check,
Mm-hmm.
and the big blind bets $25.
Yep.
Under the gun calls $25.
Yep.
And then middle position limper raises to 75.
So seven. I love limp pots, by the way. This is why I wanted to get this one on here. So 7, 6, 5, two diamonds. You kind of make a wide complete in the small blind with deuce eight of diamonds. You flop an open ended straight draw, flush draw. First, the big blind bets 25. Under the gun calls. And now MP raises here to 75. And this could be probably a pretty wide range of boy, that's that's a pretty small raise here. I mean, I definitely liked attacking this board here. If it definitely went bet call, I would be attacking here. And when he makes it 75 here, I still kind of like attacking and cleaning up maybe some of the higher draws that are out there. You block 8, 9. This doesn't really seem like something that is super, super strong when a guy goes like really kind of not that big on a texture like this.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, so I made it 175.
So you did. Okay. So hero check raise three bets to 175. That's kind of small though. I will say 25 call. Why'd you go so small?
It wasn't really it really wasn't my intention to try and get folds at this point. I figured with a bet, a call, and a raise that they might have had something decent to continue with, but I kind of wanted to not look weak by just overcalling out of position and make my hand look like a draw. One, and also two, I also wanted to give the opportunity to anyone that had a hand like maybe 7-8, or a hand like bottom two pair, to start instilling some doubt in their mind about their hand.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just make it like three? Well, I don't know. I would just, I can't see myself necessarily going this small. I would kind of, I mean, I think raising here over the top of like kind of a small raise, especially blocking the nuts when I think the guy's kind of full of shit, like, I think that's fine. I just would have made it a little bit on the larger side. There's a very, very old school poker theorem, which really doesn't apply that much anymore, which was way back in the day, like in 2004, 2005, which basically said if anybody raises post flop, I think in a limp pot, or if they're not the pre-flop raiser, they're never going to fold. That held true a lot back in the day, but here on this texture, I just don't think that this guy's hand is all that strong. Like I said, I agree with your raise. I just would have made it larger. Okay, so you 3-bet to 175 from out of position.
Right. And then the big blind begrudgingly folds.
Okay.
And under the gun limper clicks it back to 300.
What? He raises to 300.
Right.
So big blind bets. You gotta love live poker, limp pot. 5-10, right? I mean, I know it's a private game, but still. So big blind goes 25. Under the gun calls. MP raises to 175. Hero check raise 3-bets, or yeah, MP raises to 75. Hero check raise 3-bets to 175 with his combo draw. The big blind, who's the initial better, he folds, and now the under the gun limp like back raise 4-bets. And what I mean by back raise is he called the bet, and now he's re-raising a raise. He's re-raising a raise. He goes to 300 here. I mean, unless this guy is like the biggest whale in the world, which I just can't imagine this would ever be like some sort of overpair. Because if somebody, like, you always have to look at these games and be like, could this guy possibly be overplaying an overpair? It's not in this situation, because under the gun would have just raised the bet of the big blind betting out 25. This guy has basically back raise 4-bet here. He has to have like the nuts like pretty much all the time here. I mean, I know you have an 8 in your hand, but this just
definitely has the nuts.
This has to be the nuts. Now the thing is that you have equity against the nuts, though, especially against the guy that might stack off even if the diamond comes in. So he goes to 300. Okay.
And then middle position thinks about it for a while, and then I wouldn't say reluctantly, but cautiously calls.
So MP calls, and now it's back over to you.
Yeah.
So
where the hand goes kind of nuts.
Wow. So we know that under the gun almost pretty much always has 8-9, but the MP guy raised to 75 and now calls this like crazy strong back raise. I mean, you always have to be concerned that you might be over, that your flush draw might be dead here. But don't you? Yeah, but can't MP have like 2 pair or a set here though? Like if MP has like a set of 7, set of 6, a set of 5s here, how often is MP? Someone goes bet 25 call. How often is MP like raising with like Queen 9 of? I guess Queen 9 of diamonds would be like a combo draw, but like Queen 10 of diamonds or just the nut flush draw to 75.
Yeah, I was thinking that hands like maybe bottom straight, like 3-4 or 3-4 of diamonds, or ace 4 of diamonds, or basically any higher flush draw would make sense to continue there. I don't think that a lot of two pairs are really continuing there. Maybe sets for sure.
Right. Because the under the gun click back is so strong. I mean, 7-6. I mean, unless the guy's just terrible.
And he still has me to worry about behind.
Well, the thing that I would look at in this spot is that the pot is going to be. I mean, you made it 175. These guys have put in 300 each. So the pot is 600 plus the 25, and the limps is like 640 plus your 175. It's like what? 800, like 125 for you to call, if I'm doing that right.
Yeah, and that's where I made the mistake.
So you're getting like 8-1 here. I mean, there definitely are reverse implied odds here, but I think that I peel here getting 8-1, pretty much knowing that the under the gun guy has 8-9. It's just one of these spots where it's like, how do you play it? Like, if a diamond comes off, I mean, I think I'm gonna lead.
Yeah, I think I've been playing too much 5-card PLO lately.
And being scared of the nuts.
And being scared of getting overflushed there. But, I ended up folding. And it was a tragedy because the turn came the 9 of clubs.
Well, the 9 of clubs, I mean, if the under the gun has 8-9, obviously, I mean, you're chopping. I mean, you're basically free rolling, the under the gun now. And then one of the other things too is like sometimes people make a mistake here and they stay in with your hand, and then all of a sudden a 4 rolls off and they forget the fact that the under the gun always has 8-9. I just look at this as a spot where getting 8-1, I know it's possible that obviously MP can have a higher flush draw than you, but I do wonder though if sets are just more prevalent of just always raising flop. Like sets are always going to raise the flop. Flush draws aren't always going to raise the flop. I think I just have to. It kind of feels dirty, but I think I have to call and then basically kind of like see what develops. Now, if you had called here, right? If you had called and then the turn here is like a 9, then it's just like golden because you could just like do whatever you want on the turn. I mean, 8-9's still gonna bet. You could check raise the guy all in or just like rip the turn. You know what I mean? And get in on a free roll. But you folded. Turn was a 9. What was the result?
Under the gun shipped it, and middle position snap called.
And
the river came at 10 of diamonds.
Oof. Okay, well, yeah.
And under the gun had 8-9 off, and middle position had 9-7 off for top 2 on the turn.
Wait a minute, 9-7?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we know if he was going to call with 2 pair on the flop then, right? To the back raise, if he called the flop with 9-7. Yeah, that.
The guy in the big blind who led out for 25 was a friend of mine, and he told me that he had 6-7.
Which guy had 6-7? The guy from the big blind.
Yeah.
The big blind had led out with 6-7. Under the gun calls, MP raises, you check raise 3-bet. Yeah, I mean, with top 2 on a 3 straight board in a limped pot with a 2 flush out there. I think that's a pretty good fold. Like he's dead a lot multi-way, and then the other hands that he's up against at best are like hands like yours, right? Like gigantic combo draws, which are a favorite over anyways. So I think that's a pretty good fold by the big blind, actually.
Yeah, and that was my objective in trying to get hands similar to that to fold on the flop.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for the call, Lovey. I like those little limp pots. I will read a comment here from Nate Schmidt again. If you are consistently folding for $5 when you're in the small blind in a private game, they will not invite you back to that private game. Yes. That is definitely true.